Welcome today to this awesome day, and thanks for braving the rain with me and everybody else for being here. One thing that wasn't mentioned is that growing up in Illinois, I was a Bears fan. I have slowly come around to being a Cowboys fan. So I'm now, despite whatever Jerry Jones continues to do over there in Arlington, I wear Cowboys blue on Sundays, like most people in this room, I would hope. So for me, I'm running for my fourth and final term on City Council. We have put, you guys, the voters, put into place in the last charter election a provision where we have term limits. I supported that. I think if you can't get done what you need to get done in City Council in 8 years, then you've done something wrong. So I'm proud to support that initiative. Also proud to support the charter provision initiative, moving City Council elections to November of odd years. That is currently at the state right now. Rafael Anchia and Senator Nathan Johnson are carrying those bills to give us the permission as a city to move our elections in November of 2027 to that November. Right now, our voter turnout in District 1 is reflective of the rest of the city. It's about 9%. 9% of people who are eligible to vote in North Oak Cliff, and that's very similar across the rest of Dallas. We've seen cities like Mesquite, El Paso, Houston have moved their election dates to November of odd years, so that's not when the president's running, that's the off year. And they have doubled their voter turnout. So encourage your state representatives, encourage your state senator to support these bills because it's very important for us to get that change for November of 2027. During my tenure in North Oak Cliff, as City Council District 1, I'm very proud of my record in supporting the Latino community. We have greatly increased our number of board and commission appointments with Latinos and Latinas. Most of the most critical positions in board and commissions are now more reflective of the North Oak Cliff community. My park board representative, Jera Huerta, my senior affairs commissioner, Teresita Delgado, our arts and culture commissioner for District 1, Tino Halomo, and our youth commissioner, Abraham Moreno. So I'm very proud of diversifying and making our boards and commissions more reflective of our community. Other things that I have been very proud to have worked with is with Jaime Resendez, my battle buddy and fellow Army combat veteran. We have been the driving spear to make sure the city manager continues to monitor the issues with ICE and continues to make sure we are prepared if Washington tries to do something crazy, that we are true to representing our immigrants and true to representing our constituents and protecting them as best as we can against harmful federal policies. And when the bad policies started coming down from Washington, I immediately met with the Mexican consulate to understand what services were available for people who were being targeted by ICE and by the federal government. Continue to have a good relationship with him and his office. Moving forward for the next few years, we just had a bond pass. Thank you to everybody who voted in the 2024 bond election. We have some very big projects coming to District 1, including Martin Weiss Recreation Center. Got $9.5 million to fix that up for our seniors. Pretty awesome. We also got a lot of money for Sylvan, Colorado intersection, Jefferson Boulevard, and downtown Elmwood to fix their streets so they're safer for our residents to get around the city, limiting the amount of accidents we have there. I'm gonna, in the next 2 years, my plan is to make sure those projects get more funding so that we can complete them and have them at least in the works by the time I'm out of office. As the last thing I want to kind of point out to everybody in the room is small businesses are the heartblood of Oak Cliff. I came here and moved here as fast as I could to Oak Cliff back in, it was about 2008. And I opened my law firm at the time. I had $10,000, I was just talking about this a minute ago, had no money in the bank, I had $10,000 in credit card debt, And I opened my law firm. I had one client, and it was Oak Cliff. The people in this room, the people who live within 2 or 3 miles of this location, who supported my law firm and helped it grow to what it became, and also helped my small business, my car washes, survive today. I believe everybody has the opportunity to be successful and should have that opportunity no matter what your background is and who you are. And it's all because we can support each other as residents in Oak Cliff. All ships rise together, and that's been my mantra since day one. It will continue to be so in the future. I'm very proud to have the support of many Latino, Latina elected officials and organizational groups, including the 23rd Tejano Democrats, the National Law Enforcement, Latino Law Enforcement Organization, Constable Michael Orozco, Trustee Diana Flores, former Trustee Jerome Garza, Representative Jessica Gonzalez, and last but not least, Sheriff Lupe Valdez. And then I've got my good friends Marina and Hilda, who have been with me since the very beginning. I remember when Hilda first came yelling at me when I walked in here to Chorizo Menudo back in 2019, and since then we've had a very open conversation, just like I want to have with any of you that have concerns about Oak Cliff. So with that being said, I believe there's time for questions, right? Yeah, are we going to do that? Okay. Yeah, I'm open for questions. And do I take the mic to them, or how do you want to do this?
We have a mic.
You got it. Okay. Okay.
All right. Do we have questions for first question right here? Yep. Here's your mic.
Thank you. Good morning. We have right now going on an authorized heating in Hampton Clarendon area, where it's a heavy area with many small Latino businesses. Which kind of proposition will you support to protect the businesses from displacement? And this displacement can be caused by speculation of the land, increases in taxes. And right now, at least in that zone, is not like a racial impact analysis or a community impact analysis or policies in the city to support that the people can afford the land or promote ownership. Which proposition would you support before zoning changes?
It's a great question. So the Hampton-Clarendon corridor is going through a zoning relook. Neighbors have said the neighbors who live around the area have said they are concerned about the fact that the current zoning allows for drive-through restaurants, new car washes actually to get built there, which I have no interest in doing, by the way, and that it's not safe for walkers, for people trying to walk along the street. So there has been I should probably come back up here, it's making a noise. So there has been a request to relook at the zoning. Now neighbors have brought up to my attention and attention of the Plan Commission that they're concerned, valid concerns, that small businesses might be pushed out. So right now that I think the Plan Commission is working with neighbors. I know that the planner who's been assigned to the case is working on finalizing some changes to the zoning, and I'm very much supportive of hearing what that is. I'm personally not involved until it gets to the council level, but my hope is that it will get worked out before it gets to the city council, just like the West Oak Cliff area plan did when we passed it with no opposition and unanimous support by council. Thank you.
Good morning. I
Hey,
have the privilege of the mic. I just want to mention some things to the folks that are here, and that's that you're approachable and accessible. He mentioned something that the first time that we met, it was because I was upset, and I was, but not at him. He had a tenant that had a contract, and somebody in his office had gone and changed the last page to increase his rent. I said, what are you doing? So he finally said, I'll meet with this guy and I'll make things right. And he did, so thank you for that. Another instance in where I had an Asian American who started a new business and didn't know how to get the business renewed in their name. I gave a call to Shaq, he goes, come to my office. I brought the woman with me. And not only did he assist her, he filled out the form and showed her how to fill it out. And so we appreciate that, and she's happy in her business, and she's been here 5 years. And the third and final thing is the lowrider community. The lowrider community has had a bad rap all this time. And Chad came forward and met with the business owners of Jefferson and with the lowriders, and we came into an agreement and an understanding. And if you come here on Sunday evenings, you will see the lowriders happily on Jefferson, and people in community come by and see their hard work and their labor in their vehicles, and they have a lot of pride in that. So thank you, Chad, for what you're doing. And let me just say, you don't need to be Latino to represent Latinos, and you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Okay, hold on.
Good morning, Councilman.
Good morning.
And good to see you. Thanks for coming out. My thoughts are drawn to your comments about ICE and their activities in our community. I'm wondering if we can have a conversation with the city about cite and release for certain offenses. I know we passed cite and release for some through ordinance or through ballot measure last year. There are some that we can actually do at the council level that the state legislature has okayed since like the mid-2000s, and the city has just never acted on them. I've got a study here that's saying in 1 year, from 2017 to 2018, police arrested 7,000 people that they didn't need to arrest under state law. And, you know, maybe by the time they get to the judge, they get time served, or they get a fine, or maybe sometimes they get a few more days in jail for these minor offenses. But between the time from when they are arrested to when they see the judge, as you know, their information goes to ICE. And some of those people get wrapped up in the deportation machine. Now, that's not something that we are powerless to do here as a city. The state legislature has already given us the opportunity to issue cite and release for these specific offenses, Class C, B, and A misdemeanors, certain ones under certain conditions. But it just seems that we've never had that conversation as a council. Can we have that conversation in this coming year, considering all that's happened at the national and state level?
I mean, that's easy. Absolutely. Like, I supported and was one of the most vocal advocates for the low-level marijuana cite and release, and also for legalization of marijuana, which of course is not going to happen anytime in the near future in the state level. So I think you look at the impact. I'd love to see the data too, the impacts of these low-level minor offenses that someone spends little to no time in jail, but it ends up ruining their lives when they get deported. You know, that's exactly the kind of stuff. If we can impact it, yeah, let's just talk after this, for sure, definitely.
All right, we're gonna do two more, one back there and then right up here. Claudia? Where's Claudia? Okay, go ahead.
Okay, good morning. I actually live in the WOCAP neighborhood, right off of 12th and Hampton. And a lot of the Spanish-speaking residents and small businesses in the area, I don't think we were really giving a lot of notice and properly informed, especially in Spanish, about all of the things that are going on. I went to one meeting at Idaho and they had translators there, but I think they had like 3 or 4 units. And I'm not sure how that makes sense when that entire neighborhood is primarily Spanish-speaking or Latine. What is going to be done in the future to ensure that planning processes are truly transparent and intentionally inclusive of the residents and the business owners in the area? The only meeting that I have gone to that I felt was very focused on actually getting information to us was the meeting held at Winnetka that Rayo Planning did. That was very inclusive. It was in the middle of the week and there were tons of families there with children, and it was actually an event that was easy to attend because they had activities for kids. Parents didn't have to worry about babysitters, and it was scheduled around a location that is easy to access. So that's my question.
No, thanks for the feedback. I think that the city has come a long way in the last few years on providing bilingual options, and it can always be doing better. So at every meeting I was at, and I believe there were 6 for the Hampton Clarendon meeting, they had like the box with all the headsets in it, which are like 24 to 30 units, but I'm very concerned if there was one that only had a few units. That's just not sufficient. So I would say in the future, you know, all of our meetings in District 1 will have that. And we'll continue to take feedback. You know, I know that they also offer a Spanish-only option as well for one meeting completely in Spanish. So I think it's very important when you have a marginalized community who has historically been left behind by the city. We've got to do better. So thank you for that feedback. Do we have another?
One more.
Mi pregunta para usted, señor, ella va para 3 veces que se ha nombrado para el Distrito 1. Resulta que desde que usted está de concejal del Distrito 1, jamás hemos tenido limpieza en el área de la Jefferson, Davis, en el área número 1. Yo quisiera, ya varias veces lo he enfrentado y le he dicho a usted, que los supervisores, desde que usted está, jamás han pasado, y luego tienen la destreza, los supervisores, porque a uno los conozco, burlarse, que ellos nada más van y chequean, y que a la hora de entrada y a la hora de salida. Necesita usted, por favorcito, supervisar a los supervisores de limpieza, porque el área de Dallas está demasiado sucia. Yo sé que ahorita hay mucho problema por las calles por el eso de que nos están cambiando las líneas del gas, pero la basura, por ejemplo, yo tengo vecinos que se llevan la basura y como están dando multas, ponen la mitad de la basura y otro día ponen la basura. Le hablo al 911, le hablo a usted y jamás nos quita la basura. Así es que todo el año tenemos basura en el área del número 1. Por favor, debería de supervisar un poco más el área.
Her concern is that she lives in District 1 and she's noticed that there is constantly an issue with trash around her area. Specifically, she called out Jefferson, and she's made calls to the city. She's called the city councilman's office, and it has not been resolved. She's also had some city personnel. It seems they do stop by to do they'll do checks, but there seems to be no action after the fact, even though it's evident that there's trash out in the community.
Okay, and I know I know my office is aware of the situation. I thank you for continuing to be an advocate for that. I think the fact that city staff has shown up there shows that they are aware of it and they're taking it seriously. It just sounds like whoever the bad actor is that's throwing it out there is not learning their lesson, and there needs to be some more enforcement type issues. Yeah.
Okay, so dice que ya que sí han habido personas de la ciudad que han ido y han hecho las inspecciones, con eso sí se nota de que ellos saben que hay un problema, pero tienen que hacer algo acerca de las personas que usted dijo que se han burlado o que quizás no están tomando en serio el problema. Así es que, can y'all connect?
Yeah.
All right. ¿Pueden conectarse ustedes con su oficina?
Tengo los teléfonos de los secretarios de él y sí.
Okay, she has your staffer's contact information. Jake Edinger. Él es bilingüe y pueden conectar. Bueno, está bien. Muchas gracias. Thank you. Okay. We'll do last question and we need to move on to the next speaker.
Chad, even though I'm one of your endorsees, no softball questions for you.
I wouldn't want any.
One of your opponents has strongly come against you because of all the new gentrification that is going on. We all know we need affordable housing, but where some of us lives, apartment after apartment after apartment after apartment after apartment are going up, and none of them are affordable housing. We have, and I mean, across from 2 of my properties, there's there's a part, and I can't afford to stay there anymore because the apartments are so expensive that I have to leave. So I have to sell my property to an investor that's probably gonna build another apartment. Yet we're not filling those places. Why does the city continue to allow those apartments to go up? When we have a lot of empty apartments right now, they're giving away a month free and washers and dryers free so they can come in to their apartment because they can't fill it up. If some of us were around in the 80s, we know what happened with all those apartments that just kept going up. People just walked away from them and the city got stuck with half buildings and holes and everything else. So why do we continue to allow these apartments to go up? And if so, why don't we make it affordable housing?
A great question. So the apartments that, if you're referring to this, the apartments around Bishop Arts area, if that's mainly where you're referring to, a lot of those came from the zoning from 10, 15 years ago. So we learned from that. In my era, we've had the West Oak Cliff area plan. What neighbors specifically said to us over the 3 years we did engagement was we do not want Bishop Arts recreated across Oak Cliff. We like parts of it are cool, but we don't want it recreated. And so that type of density was not allowed in the zoning in the future for North Oak Cliff. There is a need in the city that's documented, I'm sure you know that, you've mentioned this, we are 48,000 units short right now in apartments for people who make around $40,000, $50,000 a year in the city. They cannot afford to live here. They've got to live in the suburbs and drive here. So we do need affordable apartments. The question is where to put them. I support density in areas where it's not looming over homes like yours and like mine, where there's areas that are developable. Jefferson Boulevard over there by 35, where you've got the DART Service Center. There's no homes over there. It's right by downtown, right by the highways. That's zoned, and it's appropriate in my mind to put up some higher density over there. However, in the neighborhoods, inside our neighborhoods, I don't believe the larger apartments belong there. Yeah.
I apologize, but we do need to move on to the next speaker. Yes, please feel free to connect after. Thank you so much, Councilman. All right, so thank y'all. We're gonna move on. We do have another candidate about to come up. She is running for City Council District 7 in Irving. Her name is Priscilla Vigilante. Let's give her a round of applause. For the past 9 years, Priscilla Vigilante, feel free to come on up. Priscilla Vigilante has been a relentless advocate for putting neighborhoods first in Irving. With a proven track record of 6 years working hand in hand with residents, leading one of the largest and most active neighborhood associations in South Irving, Priscilla delivered real solutions that make a lasting impact on where we live, work, and raise our families. In addition, as a planning and zoning commissioner for the past 2 years, Priscilla has been on the front lines protecting our city and fighting for responsible development. Priscilla does not just talk about community, she lives it. Priscilla invests her time, energy, and heart into Irving, consistently showing up, giving back, and driving meaningful change. Leadership isn't about making promises, it's about action, and Priscilla has done the work and she's ready to keep moving Irving forward. She's honored to be running for Irving City Council District 7 and to be endorsed by the Irving Professional Firefighters Association and Metro Tex Association of Realtors. For more information, visit PriscillaForIrving.com. Here we have Priscilla.
Thank you, Jasmine. Hello, good morning. Thank you so much for the invitation to come out this morning and have breakfast with you and meet you. This is the first time that me and my family, my husband and my son are here, and so it's such a pleasure to spend our morning with you. As Jasmine had mentioned, my name is Priscilla Vigilante and I am running for City Council District 7 in Irving. And so I'm proud to be one of the few women actually in this race. There's only 2 women in the 3 races that are in Irving. And as many of you know, we don't have any women right now on city council. And so I'm proud to be one of the few. But most importantly, what sets me apart in this race is that I have, as Jasmine mentioned, experience leading neighborhoods, leading residents to better their community, and also I have experience at City Hall on Planning and Zoning Commission, but also on the Charter Review Committee, which is, I voted for stricter term limits, which I think is very important. So just a little bit about myself. I was born and raised in El Paso, Texas. I was raised by a single mother who was a public educator and librarian. She retired after 37 years. I then went on to study at St. Mary's University in San Antonio. I got my degree in international business and marketing, and then moved to DFW close to 20 years ago. 9 years ago, my husband and I decided that we wanted to plant some roots and start a family. And that's where we decided to call Irving home. And so shortly after my son was born, I realized how important our local government was to our everyday lives. I started seeing things with fresh eyes. The roads that we were driving on, the clean water that was coming out of our faucet, the parks, the libraries. And I started realizing that if Irving was going to be our home, I was going to have to do my part to make sure that our son was being raised in a community that was flourishing and prospering. And so I immediately started getting involved in our neighborhood association, and I'm so glad I did, because that's where I started realizing the pain points that residents face on a daily basis, whether it be our streets, our code enforcement, our public safety. And so it was through that I just started putting my words into action. I was going to make a difference for Mateo and his community. And so that is exactly what I did. Started leading our neighborhood association, but I wanted to go a little bit further, and I realized that if I was going to help my neighborhood, I was going to have to get experience in government. And so I did just that. I took a 13-week course to find out exactly how the city of Irving's government functioned. From there, I graduated and decided to go a little bit further. I interviewed for different boards and commissions, and I was sworn in 2023 as the Planning and Zoning Commissioner. And I loved it. I am for responsible growth. And it's very exciting to be able to make a recommendation to City Council to help a small business owner stay in Irving, to grow. And it's very rewarding to drive down the road and see a new development, knowing that we're keeping a business in Irving and it's getting a bigger location. Right? It's very rewarding to drive down the street in Irving and we see that there are new apartments coming up, but also new single-family homes coming up, where we can provide more housing, because that seems to be a shortage, not just in Irving, but across cities in North Texas. And so I'm very excited. This is my first campaign for an elected office. And I want to thank my husband and my son, because they're here today and they've been along this journey with me every step of the way. Yes, and ladies and gentlemen, we are 17 days out from early voting. And so it's very important that we encourage our neighbors, our friends, and our families to come out and vote in local elections. We see this across cities in North Texas, that municipal elections have the lowest voter turnout. But yet they're the most important elections because they affect our everyday lives. And so I want to encourage you to get your friends out, get your family out, and get as many people registered to vote to come out and vote at local elections. And so if you have any questions, I would love to talk with you. My name is Priscilla, and I'm running for City Council District 7 in Irving.
All right, so we are going to open up for a few questions.
Priscilla, thank you very much for being here. My question is, in 2026, FIFA will be coming to the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Given the importance of DART to FIFA, would you favor a resolution in Irving to fully fund DART and support FIFA?
Thank you for that question. I think right now there's a lot of candidates in Irving that said there's a lot of empty buses driving around town. I want to tell you what I did a couple of weeks ago. I took DART for 6 hours. I rode every form of public transportation that is available through our system. I took it from South Irving off of Shady Grove, and I went all the way up to North Irving, got a cup of coffee, past the George Bush, came back to South Irving, and I took it to the Dallas Farmer Market. So I want to tell you something. I took it on one of the slowest days of the week, which was on a Saturday. I never saw an empty bus. I never saw an empty rail. Do you know what I did see? I saw mothers with their children. I saw adult children with their parents. I saw young professionals in uniform going to work. That is what I saw. That is what I experienced. And so the question was, do I support a resolution? I definitely want to explore what that resolution could look like, because the voters of Irving have expressed with their vote that they want DART in their community. And I will always respect the will of the voters, regardless of what the topic is. We voted to bring DART in, and I will respect that. And if there's opportunity to make DART better, I fully respect that as well. Because in those 6 hours that I rode DART, absolutely, I saw things that could be improved. And we want to make sure that our taxpayer dollars are working for the people, because that is our hard-earned money. And it should work for us effectively and efficiently. Thank you. More questions? Yes, sir.
Hold on, I'm so sorry. This one over here.
Okay.
Yes, thank you. I'm so impressed that you would train and get some background before you jump right in. That's very admirable. How can someone here support you financially, your campaign, things like that? If you can give us that information,
Yes,
it'll be posted on
thank you.
Facebook.
PriscillaForIrving.com. That is where you will find information about our campaign, how to get involved, if you would like a yard sign, if you would like to donate. Our campaign is... I can speak loudly. Our campaign is powered by residents for the residents. And so this campaign is really powered by the people of Irving. And so if you would like to get involved, we would love to have you on our side.
Hi, thanks for being here today. My name is Corey Carrasco. I'm from the Social Democrats of Dallas, and I have a quick question for you. Irving's my home base, and it's where I grew up. Your District 7 right there has Plymouth Park, and it's been a struggle up there getting it redeveloped. And I was just wondering, what are your plans, and what do you envision for it? We have some issues in Dallas where we have just had the Pepper Square vote, where it's a similar development like Plymouth Park that needs that redevelopment, but there's concern about the increased density right there. What's your vision for projects like that in Irving and across District 7?
Plymouth Park has been,
I live 2 minutes from Plymouth Park. Absolutely. It is definitely a pain point right now in Irving. It's an eyesore as well, apart from that. Unfortunately, the city of Irving does not own that property. That does have a private owner. And like anything, we want to work with that owner to develop that piece of land. In District 7 in particular, going door to door, residents have expressed that they want to see that property developed. They want to see a more family-friendly retail, and they want to see more housing options. And so I think the city of Irving has to continue to work with that property owner to ensure that we can develop it. Oh, he did. Sorry about that. No worries, it's technology. We'll roll with it. So no, like I was telling, as the city of Irving is going to have to continuously to work with property owners to make sure that our properties are up to standards and are providing value to the residents. That's very important. But yes, we would like to see that property developed sooner rather than later.
Any others? Terry Mesa. Terry Mesa.
All right.
Support Dart, and I endorse Priscilla for City Council. Please give her your support.
Thank you so much, Priscilla. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move on. We have one more candidate here with us today, Mr. Byron Sanders. Byron Sanders is dedicated to empowering students and enhancing educational opportunities in Dallas. With a passion for community engagement, he strives to make a positive impact on the lives of every student. A proud product of Dallas ISD and a son of Southern Dallas, Byron grew up with the district at the center of his life. As the son of an elementary school teacher and a student in Oak Cliff, he found his voice and developed a love for his culture through the care and guidance of DISD educators. They instilled in him a belief that the world is wide and he has a place in it. This foundation fuels Byron's commitment to ensuring every DISD student, regardless of their zip code, has access to the tools, support, and opportunities they need. Byron's career spans education, philanthropy, and innovation with a proven track record of impact at DISD and beyond. As the former president and CEO of Big Thought, he championed creative, student-centered programming to narrow the opportunity gap for youth from underserved communities. Prior to that, as executive director of the Dallas Education Foundation, Byron secured critical partnership and funding to advance initiatives directly benefiting DISD students. An alumnus of Leadership ISD, Byron has built bridges between the community, educators, and policy leaders. His diverse experiences across healthcare, entrepreneurship, finance, and youth development give him a deep understanding of the complexities of public education. Let's welcome Byron Sanders, everyone.
Thank you so much. It is wonderful to be here with you all today. My name is Byron Sanders again. I'm a son of Dallas. I grew up here. Oak Cliff, West Dallas, Pleasant Grove, a little bit of DeSoto, like I've been all over. My mother, that 40-year educator, 36 years in Dallas ISD. You know, if anybody here is the son of like a teacher, you know, when it's time to go back to school, who's doing the decorations in the room, right? I mean, I stayed at that laminating machine back in the day, right? My mother was the founding faculty of Eladio Martinez in West Dallas. So I was in West Dallas literally all the time. You know, even when we lived in Oak Cliff, even when we lived in Pleasant Grove, West Dallas is a backdrop of my life. And so that's where I started to build my first and closest Latino friendships, relationships. I understand the community. And I understand the community because it's not something I read about, it's something that I lived alongside. And I also understand that it's our growing community. Anybody who wants to lead in this city, and quite frankly, anybody who wants to lead in Texas, if you don't have a deep affinity for, and a curiosity of, and a joy to build relationships in the Latino community, then you don't deserve to be in leadership. That's a fact. And clearly, I'm black. Been black my whole life. I don't know how to be anything other than black. You know what I'm saying? But also, I love my Latino brothers and sisters. My brother Mac, right there. We've been together. We've been in the trenches together for a long time. I was the first of 2 black graduates from the Latino Center for Leadership Development. That's where I built my relationship, close relationship with Claudia Sandoval, my brother Jaime Resendez, Omar Narvaez, Adam Medrano. These people are endorsing me, and there's a reason why. It's not because it's Johnny come lately. Nobody asked them on my behalf. These were relationships that I went to myself. And let's talk about what I'm here to do. Dallas ISD District 5, that covers West Dallas, that covers parts of Oak Lawn, Uptown, Downtown. Then it swings down into Oak Cliff, and then it swings all the way over to Wilma Hutchins. It makes no sense the way it's shaped, I'll admit that. It's actually shaped like a question mark, which I think is appropriate. But it's the largest district of Dallas ISD. There's more kids in District 5 than anybody else. We have some of the greatest income inequality as well. We have some of the highest income brackets and also some of the lowest. We're challenged by some of the toughest statistics. 75216, the South Oak Cliff area has the highest incarceration rates, highest formerly incarceration rates, and highest poverty concentrations throughout Texas, let alone just Dallas, right? And then we also have some really high income areas as well. But you know what? One thing that I've learned over the last 20 years of being involved in education is that we don't need to fix the people down here. The people that I grew up around, we don't need to fix the people. What we need are resources. What we need is opportunity. That's what we need. So I went to school in Dallas Independent School District. I went to Adele Turner Tiger. I'm an Adele Turner Tiger for my life till I die. Redbird Polk, right there in the Redbird area. Then I went to Alex W. Spence. So I was in the TAG Academy there at A.W. Spence before they got their own school. We were the school within the school, right? Love that. Then I met a mentor who told me about this place called Green Hill. I'd never heard of a Green Hill before. I went up there and visited. They had a literal peacock walk by the sidewalk between classes. I was like, yo. I stopped the dude who was there. I was like, man, that's a peacock. He's like, yeah, I know. I was like, y'all got peacocks? He's like, yeah. I want to go to the school with the magical birds of paradise just walking around. That's what I want to do. And I went up there to that private school. I didn't even know what a private school was. And I had a phenomenal experience. I learned a lot. But I also remembered every single day I crossed that Trinity River. Every morning I crossed the Trinity River. And the stories that I got in North Dallas were very different from the stories that I got down in the southern part of Dallas. And the only difference was not that those kids up there were smarter, is that a lot of their parents were more connected. They had more resources at home. They had tutoring. They got to go to after-school programs. They had summer programs. They had camps. All of those things that the kids that I grew up around didn't have the capacity to pay for, but they didn't want it any less. They didn't need it any less. We didn't have the resources. So the biggest thing that I'm running for within Dallas ISD to make sure we bring resources back to the southern side of Dallas Independent School District for our kids down here. And we're fighting a lot of headwinds, y'all. We see what's happening up there in DC.
Yeah.
We see what's happening in Austin. Vouchers, I'm anti-vouchers. If anybody want to ask me, I can go deep into it, but it doesn't make sense to use public dollars for private schools.
Right.
What I also know is that the cavalry is not coming. So we're going to have to get creative for ourselves down here. Our bilingual education still needs the additional resources, no matter what anybody says. And we need more bilingual educators. So we need to make sure that we're embracing ideas that are going to allow us to keep our teachers here. One of the big challenges that we have with educators is that the ones who teach in the schools, in our elementary schools, middle schools, high schools, they can't live anywhere near the schools where they teach. Because of our affordable housing crisis, many of the people who are teaching our kids are driving in from Wiley, Waxahachie. They're driving in from Allen. And the challenge is, we need to be thinking creatively about solutions where we can bring that to case. We've seen some good solutions across the country. We have a bond most likely coming up in 2026. Why wouldn't we use that to help solve the housing issue for our educators? Why wouldn't we build educator-specific housing on these lands and property lots that we own around here? One of the other things, as we're thinking about building, there's a beautiful program that's happening in Arkansas where they're including solar energy in part of the new infrastructure that they're building. Here's what that's done. It's brought millions of dollars of savings back to that district that they can put then back into programs and make sure that they have sustainability programs for the things that we know are working, but that we cut as soon as the belt has to get tight. But what if we introduce those kinds of ideas into our school district? Here's the thing. The people who used to bag on Dallas ISD, they ain't been paying attention over the last 20 years. This has, under their noses, become one of the best school districts in the country. One of the best school districts in the country. And I'm running to make sure that we don't just rest on our laurels, but we're pushing ourselves further and living at the edge of possibility. Our kids deserve it now, and they need us now in this city more than they ever have before. I'm running to make sure that that happens. And because I have such a deep affinity for the Latino community, I understand that means that we're not going to take a colorblind approach to this whole thing. We're going to make sure we're speaking to specific communities. We're going to make sure that people feel protected and safe in a country that is actively attacking its own citizens and its immigrants. We're going to hold the line here in Dallas ISD. And we need somebody up there who knows how to fight. And I'm from Oak Cliff, so I can squabble a little bit. So I'm asking for your support. ByronSanders.com. You can go to our website. You can give there, but also I need you to sign up. We're doing some mega block walking. We're going to be on the phones. We're making a big push. April 22nd, early voting. May 3rd, that's the big day. But listen, I'm trying not to do a runoff. So I need y'all's support. Thank you so much for your time, and I'll be open to any questions.
Thank you for coming out, Mr. Sanders. I was thinking about how you said your district covers Wilmer Hutchins. Now I'm sure you're aware of the shooting that happened last year at Wilmer Hutchins. And the part of it that I want to ask you about is, you know about the student walkout that happened afterwards.
Yeah.
And how it was all over the news. I'm pretty impressed when I ever see people that young organizing, because when I was that young, we never did anything like that. And maybe it's because they all have cell phones now. But I'm so impressed to see young people mobilize, to speak for themselves, and get civically engaged, and exercise their First Amendment rights. What concerns me is how the administration of that school, the principal, cracked down so viciously on those students in the aftermath of that, and how that wasn't discussed at the school board. They suspended students, they dragged them, and they took them in and interrogated them without their parents being present, without the knowledge of their presence. Several students lost their school credits because three of their teachers chaperoned them when they walked out for their safety. The other students walking out, maybe they get hit by a car. That's happened before in some walkouts in other parts of the country. The adults seem to be present. When reporters interviewed those teachers, and the teachers said that they were there to support their students, the administration responded by firing them immediately. And some of them were doing dual college classes. And because they fired them immediately and replaced them with substitutes that didn't know what was going on, those substitutes didn't communicate with the college, and the students for those classes lost their school credits. So they were harassed, they were intimidated. The three teachers who were members of the teachers union, their careers were ruined. Temporarily, they went to DeSoto, and now they're being treated better in DeSoto. That's DISD's loss, because those are some good teachers that look out for the students. And the thing that I need to bring to you is the previous trustee board that oversaw this, they just rubber stamped the findings with no discussion, no deliberation, no investigation. I brought this to my board member, and he didn't have any idea about this. But I was like, why did you vote to rubber stamp the findings if you didn't look into it? So what can we do as a school board to respect the rights of our students and our teachers? Because think about it. This is their first engagement in civics. To organize and speak their mind, and then to have the government crush them like that. That's fascism.
Let me address that. Thank you for asking that question. You know what's interesting? I look around in this room and I don't know for sure, but this is an engaged community. LULAC is an engaged community. I wonder how many of you all were student activists yourselves. Exactly. I already knew that. Same here. If it weren't for young people, and I literally talk about this when I go out and speak, if it weren't for young people, we wouldn't have civil rights in this country today. When you think about who was on those buses with the Freedom Rides, those were kids. When you look at the people standing next to Martin Luther King on the marches, those were kids. When you look at John Lewis, when he got started, he was a kid. right? These are people with teen at the front of their ages. So my thing is this. I am for student voice. Because the people who have the highest stakes in what's happening today are the children themselves. And if somebody who is 16, 14, 15 sees something that's materially wrong, organizes themselves and speaks up on their behalf, I don't know what the rest of the trustees are going to do, but I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to listen, and we're going to need to pay attention to what these young people are saying. And y'all, I'm saying this not because I'm up here talking to y'all. This is what I've literally doing my whole life. And I'll give you a specific example. South Oak Cliff High School. That beautiful $52 million building that they have up there. The only reason they have that is because young people walked out of the building that had rats, electrical fires, and everything else that was making it a threat to their literal existence in school. Those kids walked out. And we have a school now that has actually brought millions of dollars back because people are now attending that school because of the children. I will not stamp them out. We will listen to them, and we are going to listen to the root of their anger and angst as opposed to paying attention only to the ways that they express that. It takes some civil disobedience at times in order to raise the flag, and so that's what you're going to get from me.
Thank you, Mr. Sanders, for those remarks. It's very apparent that you're well-versed in our education system, and I would like to see if you could champion the situation. And as a LULAC member, I've had to deal with teachers who are being retaliated against and moved campuses because they speak up of irregularities within the bilingual program. And I would like to know if you would consider doing an ad hoc group or an investigative group to look at every campus to make sure that the children that are identified are receiving the services. We have campuses where the teachers and principals are putting down names just for the fact that they get funding, but they're not given the services. So we have one teacher that I represent right now. She's a whistleblower finally because she was retaliated against, and there's a case in court. But we want teachers to be able to speak up without repercussions. Can you help with that?
One, you just flagged an issue that I was not aware of, and so that's why I come out and have these conversations. So an ad hoc task force, I think that's a great idea. And two, we have to listen to our educators. And yeah, sometimes there are people with grievances or just bones to pick. But sometimes, especially if you hear it multiple times and you see a pattern, we gotta pay attention to that.
They're actually falsifying parent signatures to validate the existence of the children in that program.
Well, see obviously we have got to put an end to that. So yes, I will touch base with you. I'd love to talk with you about that.
Thank you.
Yes, I listen to KEOM, which is Mesquite ISD Radio, and they have students that do the DJ on that radio. And recently they mentioned that Mesquite ISD has basically a enrollment for people outside of their district, so that they can, their children can attend Mesquite ISD. And I'm sure they have to pay like a tuition difference or something like that. Do you support something like that?
Dallas does that.
So we actually, here's what's happened in this world, in this era that we're in. I don't know that it's entirely great for public education, but school districts are competing for children, 1,000%. I actually think Dallas ISD should compete harder for children and for families. And you do that a couple of different ways. The biggest thing that I think you do is you make sure your schools are amazing. You make sure your schools are really paying attention to what kids need in the 21st century world, and not the age of when I graduated, which was 2001, which doesn't sound that far ago, but then I do the math and I'm like, oh wow, yeah, it was. One of the things that I've done over the course of my life, and certainly over the course of the career, is ensure that we are pushing the point of what education is for instead of just staying so traditional. So the career paths that we have, making sure that kids are graduating, yes, with associate's degrees, and also ensuring that we make partnerships with those jobs so that they're stepping out of school and into one if they want. It's great if we have associate's degrees, but how about all of those other workforce skills that we know are critically necessary in order for them to step in and know how to critically think, problem solve, work with people, collaborate, communicate, all those things. I have ideas for how we can actually build that into our framework and make our schools amazing. The second thing is we have to communicate. We have to communicate openly with people who might not be at the school district. I'm talking about middle income families, I'm talking about low income families. I'm talking about we need to go after them hard. Our charter schools in the area. By the way, I'm not against charter schools on the surface, but at my heart, at my core, I'm an ISD guy. We have to have strong independent schools, independent school districts. So I'm saying, we know who those families are, go after them. Let them know, we gotta market ourselves. We gotta do better about that. And at the end of the day, that's also why we have to be against vouchers. Because again, I went to Green Hill. $10,000. The plan on the table right now is for $10,000 to go into the pocket of a family to then go use in private school. You know what the basic allotment is for a ISD kid? It's about just a little over $6,000. You're actually getting more money to take out of the system to go to a private system rather than to keep it here. We have to compete against that, and we have to be open about that narrative, and we have to actively go and communicate to people who aren't part of Dallas ISD yet. Thank you for answering that question.
Thank you.
Okay. That was it. All right, cool.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Sanders. Thank you, Councilman. All right. These are great questions, everyone, so thank you for being so engaged. We're going to move on, and I'm really excited about presenting this young woman that we're going to have speak. Jennifer Rangel, she is the Executive Director of Rayo Planning. So Jennifer, please make your way up here. Jennifer's parents arrived to Oak Cliff, located in Dallas, during the early 90s from Mexico. Jennifer grew up here in Oak Cliff and was shaped by both the inequities she observed in her neighborhood and her family's economic hardships. This consequently fueled her passion for social justice, activism, and service. Despite the odds, Jennifer was motivated to honor her parents' sacrifices and decided to pursue a bachelor's and master's degree. Jennifer holds a bachelor's of science in recreational park and tourism science from Texas A&M University and a master's degree in city and regional planning from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. Immediately after graduate school, she joined the Inclusive Communities Project, an affordable fair housing organization where she served as the Planning and Community Outreach Director. Today, Jennifer is the Executive Director of Rayo Planning. And I see that she has some of her colleagues here, so I just want to give it up for the organizations that are being represented here for all the work that they've been doing over the last couple of years to ensure that the voices of Oak Cliff are being heard. So,
Thank you, Jasmine. Buenos días. Estoy bien agradecida de primeramente LULAC, Jasmine, por organizar este evento, a la familia García, obviamente también al ranchito por su hospedaje esta mañana. Como escucharon, mi nombre es Jennifer Rangel, soy la directora ejecutiva de una organización que se enfoca en la vivienda justa, económica y de vivienda. Pero no solamente de eso se trata hoy, yo también estoy bien agradecida y bien honrada en compartir donde estoy aquí presente hoy con ustedes, con las personas, parte del líder, que se venga más para frente, no se me escondan. Tenemos a Violeta, tenemos a Jerry, Vanessa y Carlos, todos son partes de la alianza de Hampton y Clarendon y también tienen negocios en el área o viven en el área. Y hoy estamos aquí con ustedes porque queremos compartirles una historia, pero también pedirles sus apoyos.
Durante el caos de la pandemia, noviembre 2020, la ciudad de Dallas lanzó un proyecto para crear un plan para el oeste de Oak Cliff. Este plan cubriría 5 millas y una población de 44,000 personas en el área. El propósito del plan era para conocer cuál es la visión de la comunidad y cómo el oeste de Oak Cliff debe desarrollarse en el futuro. El día de hoy, este plan, conocido en inglés el West Oak Cliff Area Plan, siglas en inglés WOCAP, es lo que se usa para que la ciudad use como un guía cómo debe cambiar la zonificación. Zonificación queriendo decir que es permitido los terrenos de desarrollar. Este documento de casi 100 páginas tiene una parte que habla sobre pues, cuál es el futuro de Hampton y Clarendon. Y ese futuro incluye 144 propiedades. El día de hoy, WOCAP como una guía, la ciudad está recomendando que por la mayoría de esos 144 terrenos que se permitan usos residenciales en una área históricamente ocupada por nuestra población de comunidad de negocios. La alianza de Hampton y Clarendon, presente hoy, algunos de ellos, está en contra de esta recomendación. Hay varias razones por qué. Hay una petición activa que da más detalles de esa información, pero la parte que quiero compartir con ustedes, ¿por qué? Es porque, sí, claro, la nueva zonificación no va a eliminar la mayoría de los negocios por papel directamente, pero nosotros estamos preocupados por los efectos indirectamente que puede pasar. Porque en esos terrenos no se permite usos residenciales. Todos sabemos aquí qué caro es vivir en Oak Cliff y también cómo, si le permites más oportunidades en el universo, en un terreno, va a subir más el valor de esos terrenos. Y la preocupación es que ¿quién va a proteger? ¿Quién va a proteger a los negocios que están el día de hoy allí? Del market, que en el market nunca se ha preocupado por nosotros. Nosotros siempre tenemos que averiguar cómo vamos a luchar el día a día para no ser desplazados del área de Oak Cliff. Desde muchos años todos sabemos que nuestra comunidad le ha compartido la ciudad de Dallas y saben que estamos batallando en pertenecernos en el área de Oak Cliff y acelerando el valor de esos terrenos sin alguna protección puede no solamente desplazar, pero también eso afecta a la vivienda de los negocios, porque ellos usan los ingresos de sus negocios para poder pagar sus taxas, para poder pagar su vivienda, para poder sobrevivir ellos y su familia. Entonces parte de eso es porque ellos están diciendo no. Hay más razones, pero sé que estamos un poquito de tiempo corto. Pero sí quiero compartir con ustedes qué es lo que la alianza ha hecho, y son varias cosas. Uno, ya han ellos llegado aproximadamente, tienen 1,000 firmas en una carta que ellos escribieron a la ciudad de Dallas explicando en detalle por qué están en contra de la zonificación que la ciudad de Dallas quiere hacer en Hampton y Clarendon. Y con el gran apoyo de voluntarios y grupos como Somos Texas, el West Oak Cliff Coalition y muchos otros voluntarios que han brindado su tiempo, hemos visitado casi 1,600 puertas y vamos a seguir a llegar más puertas el fin de semana que viene. Todo porque sabemos que la gente en nuestra comunidad a veces es difícil ir a eventos, es difícil ir a reuniones, por muchas razones, pero es más fácil uno llegar a la puerta de ellos, que tengan la información que ellos necesiten, porque es para que ellos decidan qué es lo que ellos quieren para el futuro de Hampton y Clarendon. También hemos organizado, porque la comunidad no va como a talleres, no hemos dado cuenta, pero sí van a carnes asadas. Hemos organizado carnes asadas, han venido miembros de la comunidad y han aprendido pues qué es lo que está comentando, los cambios que son, pero más importante, ¿qué opciones tengo yo como persona que vivo aquí o tengo negocio para elevar mi voz para decir qué es lo que yo quiero ver en el área, para luchar mi futuro. Y aquí estamos también en compartir, desafortunadamente, algo que nos pasó a todos nosotros el mes pasado. Cuando la Comisión de Plan de la Ciudad iba a escuchar este caso en marzo 20, había 50 y algo personas, propietarios, que entregaron su carta azul, que es básicamente diciendo a la ciudad, no estamos a favor. Había como 30 y algo personas que habían dicho que iban a apuntarse a hablar en contra de esto. Habíamos entregado también en ese tiempo, teníamos el número 727 firmas en contra. Y imagínense cambiar su horario de su día, perder ingresos, averiguarse cómo vamos a ir a City Hall. Y uno llega, cuando empieza la reunión, la comisión dice, hola comunidad, gracias por apuntarse, pero hoy no va a haber un voto. Esto se va a mover un mes después. Wow, ¿qué? Exactamente, todos nos sentimos, o sea, ¿qué onda? Pero de 12:30 hasta el caso que tocó hasta 6:30 de la tarde, eso es un día de trabajo, ¿verdad? Entonces hubo mucha gente que unos se tuvieron que ir porque éramos el último caso en la agenda. Esas agendas son larguísimos y uno no puede entrar con comida, o tampoco uno puede comer si compraron unos chips o algo. La comunidad ha sacrificado bastante para asegurar que la voz de ellos esté presente cuando la ciudad está haciendo cambios drásticos que afectan la vivienda directamente, afectan los negocios y afectan a las personas que viven alrededor del área. Y con el corazón presente aquí estoy con ustedes para pedirles sus apoyos. Por favor, esta campaña es liderada completamente por la comunidad. La comunidad ha sacrificado tanto tiempo, dinero, esfuerzo, estrés, también hambre. Y necesitamos su apoyo. Van a compartir un QR code. Si usted puede donar $5, $10 o más, cada donación de ustedes nos ayuda para asegurar que la voz de la comunidad se quede, pertenezca a las discusiones en Dallas City Hall, y que sea 2:30, 6 de la tarde esté presente. Es importante elevar a la comunidad a nosotros. Las donaciones nos ayudan muchísimo. Y 2, si quieren ser voluntarios, pues anímense y acompáñenos. El siguiente martes vamos a tener un entrenamiento para aquellos que quieren tocar puertas, quieren caminar al vecindario y compartir más información en nuestra comunidad. Y por tercero, quería compartir con ustedes también que la petición que menciono está todavía disponible para que aquellos ustedes que están en contra la llenen también, por favor. Y me gusta compartir y terminar con esta frase que una de las señoras Lorena, que no puede estar el día de hoy, tiene un restaurante, Las Tarascas, bien delicioso, si no han ido también, dice, y esta es la frase de ella: en la unidad está la fuerza. Y pues estamos pidiendo a ustedes que nos unan con nosotros para asegurar que la fuerza esté presente en Dallas City Hall, para elevar y asegurar que la protección de esos negocios puedan existir en el futuro y las familias de ellos no sean desplazados del área de Oak Cliff. Gracias. Voy a hacer, I'm going to quickly translate, just very briefly, just high level in English. And I'm happy to as well talk offline because it is quite lengthy as well. But I wanted to just introduce myself. My name is Jennifer Angel, Executive Director of Rio Planning. We are a nonprofit that advocates for environmental, housing, and economic justice. But what I really want to go ahead and bring to home here is that there has been a grassroots issue-based campaign led by the community. I am joined by folks who live in the area or have a business on Hampton and Clarendon and have been fighting for their livelihood to make sure that they don't get erased and pushed out in Oak Cliff. There was a plan that was started during the height of the pandemic, November 2020. That ultimately, this plan is kind of like your compass of okay, well, what is the community saying? What do they want to see? And how do we align the zoning to match that? And right now, with this, in that 100-page document, there is a section that talks about the future of Hampton and Clarendon, and it's asking for residential uses to be allowed in an area historically not allowed any residential uses. And our concern here is that we already know that land is so valuable in Oak Cliff, and adding more possibilities in the universe of options in land is not going to make the issue of displacement any better. It's going to aggravate it more. It's like turning your pot is boiling, you're turning up the heat more. Before we do anything like that, we need to make sure there's protections in place. And so this is why the community has worked together to make sure that their no is loud and resounding at Dallas City Hall. I shared how, we went to Dallas City Hall last month, and we found out literally the day of, as the meeting started, that there was not going to be any vote. And these are folks that take time off work. Some of them have to change their schedules because they may have kids. And we were there from 12:30 all the way to 6:30. You were there and you can't take food into Dallas City Hall. You may want to try some chips or something like that from a vending machine. But there's just so much that the community has sacrificed. There's people who submitted their blue card, which is basically the city will send a letter asking from community members who live in the area, like, what do you want to see? Do you agree, yes or no? The resounding no was really present, but we found out that day of that there wasn't going to be any vote until this month. And so with this time, we've devoted a lot of efforts to make sure that people are aware about what's going on, but that they also have the opportunity to share their opinion on what that is. And overwhelmingly, we keep hearing no, they don't want the zoning changes. And so we're here to ask of you, one, your support. If you are also in alignment with that, there's a petition active for you to fill out. We're always looking for volunteers as well who could join us, because every time we block walk, it's at minimum 800 homes, minimum. So it takes a lot of effort that people take on a lot of their time to do. And then as well, lastly, I want to wrap up with sharing that there's a phrase, I'm going to try my best to translate it in English. It's a little more stronger in Spanish. But it says, in unity there's strength. And that's a phrase that the Alliance continues to use and remind themselves of as, we deal with our challenges, to be able to just uplift their voice and their individual voices on this. And so thank you for the opportunity. Gracias por la oportunidad de elevar la causa de la comunidad, to elevate the cause of the community here this morning.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. And I just want to also add in English, there's a QR code. If you'd like to donate to their work and the efforts of this organization, you can do so at the QR code that's being shared. Are there any questions for this team?
Yes, Jennifer,
Yes, Ms.
I
Hilda.
am so impressed with you. You're amazing. I love that you are so totally bilingual. My question to you is, have you sat down and talked to Chad West? Because he's your rep and he has a responsibility. And second, I'm glad you're sending these around. I will donate. I don't have much money. I'm on fixed income, but I'm going to donate. Keep up the hard work. This is so needed, and I want to praise you and the people that are with you, because without you speaking up, we would not even know that that's happening.
No, gracias. Thank you for one. I know myself, we're just a vessel. We're just literally this, and they're the ones basically like informing what we share and sharing with you all. We have not met with him because it's at the City Plan Commission, which that's a good point. So I'll say it in English first. It is
You have his support. He talks to the other council members.
Yeah, so right now it's at the City Plan Commission, but the letter that is drafted for the petition addresses the mayor, him, the commissioners, city staff, all and everyone. So at this time when the stage is there, and he is aware, I think some folks have connected with him and they've expressed that they don't want it, but Right now, it is at the City Plan Commission level, and we're hoping that the commissioner hears the voice of the community so it doesn't go beyond to Dallas City Council. Pero ahorita está en la parte, es una buena pregunta y gracias por su aporte y su apoyo. Sinceramente, sobre la manera que cambia la zonificación es como una parada de autobús. Primero, ¿verdad? El personal de la ciudad dice sí o no, y luego el siguiente stop, la siguiente parte, es la comisión de plan de la ciudad. Es donde estamos ahí en pausa, ahí está, no se ha movido, no hemos hablado con el concejal, pero estamos ahorita el representante que él ha elegido, que es el que está encargado ahorita, y hemos compartido con él la carta, nuestras preocupaciones, y esperamos que no llegue allá el concejal. Porque se acabe ahí.
Thank you. Do we have one more question?
Aquí estoy yo.
Okay, tenemos una pregunta aquí.
Bueno, no es más una pregunta, es un consejo. Sigan preservando que se alcanza todo. Yo les voy a decir por experiencia. El ID, no me lo van a creer, yo empecé con el No Manches en 2004, como el 2005 logramos el ID como una representación de los mexicanos. Fue, digamos, la organización para conseguir la matrícula consular como un ID para el mexicano, la trabajó LULAC, la trabajó Caridades Católicas, la trabajaron dos o tres legisladores y no lo lograron. Cuando yo lo propuse me dijeron que estaba loca. Dije, pues que fulano, que mangano. Dije, yo no lo estoy pidiendo para todo el país, solamente lo queremos para el área de Dallas. Y eso yo lo oí porque Hialeah y Los Ángeles ya tenían eso. Entonces cuando Elba había empezado a ser concejal, le dije, Elba, ¿me ayudas? Dijo, es que no se puede, miren que Domingo, que Roberto, y que yo sé que todos esos, pero yo no lo quiero estatal, lo quiero local. Dijo, ¿y eso dónde lo vio? Le dije, lo vi en la televisión, que es de Hialeah y Los Ángeles. Dijo, bueno, pues pídale ayuda a su consulado. Le pide al consulado, no lo van a creer, pero en 2 meses nos dieron la ID para los mexicanos. Aparte de eso, me voy a salir un poquito. Aparte de eso, nosotros como mexicanos en nuestra área, por favor, ayudemos, renunciando todos los problemas que hay en el área, drogas, sucio, todo eso. El señor, el concejal, pobrecito, me tiene miedo porque lo enfrento siempre. Pero es que realmente no hace su trabajo. No hace su trabajo porque si él quisiera, podría mandar a los supervisores de limpieza.
Muchas gracias por los comentarios.
Perdón,
tenemos que ya terminar la pregunta.
Bueno, está bien. Entonces, felicidades y sigan adelante. Y si necesitan mi ayuda, yo les puedo ayudar. No precisamente en persona porque ya no puedo caminar mucho. Pero de todos modos, si necesitan ayuda de personas importantes, concejales, el senador, el congresista, todos esos trabajan conmigo. Gracias.
Muchísimas gracias, bravo. Gracias por todos sus esfuerzos y no rendirse.
I just have something real quick. On the QR code, excellent idea, but I do want to just share with everyone. Some people aren't aware of how to use it. I would recommend that's a
URL?
Yeah, to use it on their phone and maybe just demonstrate on how to use it for the people here in the audience.
Thank you. All right, please donate if you can. QR codes are there. And also, if you have a relationship with one of your elected officials, you can also make the call yourself and help advocate for the community. Ms. Hilda, I'm looking at you as well. So, thank you all. Gracias. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move on. All right, so we have a great organization here with us today. The Dallas Trinity FC is here, so we have Natalie Gonzalez here with us, so if you could come up and I know there's going to be a short intro to your work. We want to hear about what you're doing.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Natalie Gonzalez. I'm here to represent Dallas Trinity FC. It's going to be super fast. We're basically the first ever women's professional soccer team in Dallas, Texas. I just want to thank you guys all so much for your time and making this opportunity available for Dallas, Texas. It's a huge piece of history, especially on the women's side. We have all these men's sports pushing and advocating, but we finally, Dallas, Texas has the first ever, like I said, professional team for us to represent. We have a lot of good goodies for you guys sitting in the front entrance while you guys exit for today's presence. So I thank you guys all so much for joining today in this event and allowing Dallas Trinity to be a part of it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Natalie. All right, so with that, many of you had the opportunity to join us or have heard about the Mega Marcha that happened this last week. I would like to open it up for Mr. Rafael Luna, if you're here. I believe there's going to be a short, is there? There you are. Okay, perfect. He was one of the lead organizers for the Marcha, and he's going to give a short update and recap of how it went.
Thank you, Jasmine. And Jasmine was also a big part of it. She was held all the media. Gracias por estar aquí hoy en la mañana. And congratulations to all of us. All of us. We made a big impact in Dallas. Hicimos un impacto grande a Dallas. No tan grande como los años anteriores, pero 15,000 personas marchando en Dallas, dando el mensaje de la inmigración, la reforma que queremos. Es algo muy grande. So, vengo a darle las gracias a todos. Fue un honor para mí y para mi compañía organizar este evento. Gracias a Dios no tuvimos ninguna alteración. Bueno, hubo una chiquita, pero luego se arregló. Gracias a todos, gracias a la comunidad, al Dallas Police Department que estuvieron vigentes de todo lo que estaba pasando. I want to thank the Dallas Police Department because they did a great job in helping us organize all of this. We had cars, we had motorcycles, we had security, we had the Dallas Fire Department. Everybody was there and everybody was helping our community send a message. So this is very important. One thing I don't want anybody to forget is that Domingo Garcia was one of the big funders of this. This march does not happen without funding. Funding is very important to get all of this done. So thank you to all the sponsors and all the people who donated money and helped the march. But a big round of applause, please, for Domingo Garcia. And of course, Dr. Elba Garcia as well. She was there, always by his side, always vigilant, and always ready to be there. Thank you all. It was an honor for me to be there, and it was an honor for me to produce this. So if y'all have any questions, I'm willing to hear anything, any good comments, anything about the march. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, and I do thank you, Mr. Luna, for calling out some of our sponsors. So I want to call those out right now for the marcha. Along with LULAC, who is the big one, we have the Regional Hispanic Contractors Association. We also had TOP, Texas Organizing Project, which we have a rep here. We had the Next Generation Action Network, Funky East Dallas Democrats, big shout out to the feds, and then Cesar Tacos. Thank them very much for donating over 36 packs of water for the marcha to make sure that we had our people hydrated. It was kind of a long walk. So, yes, Mr. Luna?
Emergency, I donated over 1,000 pounds of ice.
Over 1,000 pounds of ice were also donated for the marcha to make sure the waters were kept cold. It was one of the warmest days that we've had this year, by the way. So we definitely needed those waters. So thank you to everybody that helped to organize and attend this event. All right, at this point, we want to open it up for any announcements or community updates that y'all want to share. So we'll take a few minutes if there's anything. Yes.